Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? On Monday, Sean Payton was on a conference call with reporters, and he was asked, because Aldrick Rosas stinks at kicking field goals, if the Saints are going to get rid of that guy and bring in a different guy.
There's nothing right now imminent. We'll keep you guys posted if there is, but right now we're in the second half of the day now looking at a lot of Washington.
So that was Monday. Tuesday, we have breaking news. Our good buddy Mike Triplett on Twitter, after Nick Underhill tweeted that the Saints sound like they plan to sign Cody Parkey. Mike Triplett did, in fact, tweet, the Saints have agreed to terms with kicker Cody Parkey, per source. He writes he was the only kicker listed among their workouts Tuesday after they released Aldrick Rosas. Mike Triplett went on to add, Wil Lutz expected to miss a couple of more weeks, per source. With the bye coming in week 6, he shouldn't miss many more games. Also noted that Cody Parkey spent the past 7 seasons with the Eagles, Browns, Dolphins, Bears, Titans, Browns again, making 121 of 143 field goals. That's 84.6%, which is a fantastic career percentage. I made the Pro Bowl in 2014. He notes that also, unfortunately, he's remembered for missing the playoff field goal with the 2018 Bears that hit both the upright and the crossbar. Oh, yeah.
The double doink. Remember that?
Doink. I do remember the
He got cut very shortly after that.
I don't even think they let him in the locker room.
It was bad.
They're like, just leave your pads here and walk out the gate.
Yeah.
By the lady taking the tickets. Go that way. You're out. It's a former Gator, right? Cody Parkey, did he kick at Florida?
That sounds right. Yeah.
Moose, you just agreeing with me?
No, that does sound right.
Auburn.
Well, it was SEC.
See, Moose?
SEC.
Use Google instead.
Well, I'm sorry.
Don't just agree with me.
I just assumed that the last 4 kickers at Auburn have had the last name Carlson.
No, that's just Daniel and Anders. That's it. It just spanned a very long time.
It's like Kirk Cousins. He's still the quarterback at Michigan State.
No, he's not. He's been in the NFL.
And it's Connor Cook. It's one of the two.
He's both. Well, Connor Cook's not in the NFL. But Cousins, he's been in the NFL for a while. So the Saints have a new kicker, Cody Parkey, and I guess the disappointing part is that Wil Lutz is not coming back this week. Wil Lutz started the season on IR, which meant he had to miss 3 weeks minimum after his abdominal surgery. So because he was on IR, had to miss 3 weeks. The 3 weeks has since expired, of course. He was eligible to return this past week, but now apparently is still not ready to come back for Washington. So we would all presume that Wil Lutz will be eligible to return or would return after the bye. So, of course, the Saints will play this week, week 5. Week 6 is their bye. So then week 7 in Seattle is when very likely we would assume Wil Lutz will be back. And that's also when Michael Thomas will be eligible to return, provided he's healthy enough to do so. We have not had an update on Michael Thomas of late, but if you target it right about there, it makes sense timeline-wise. Of course, when you start the season on PUP, you have to miss 6 weeks. So the good news for the Saints is one of those weeks is the open date, so it's one less game that Mike Thomas misses. So he would be eligible to be back for the Week 7 game against Seattle up in the Pacific Northwest, and it looks like that's when they're targeting Wil Lutz to be back also. And listen, Sean Payton acknowledged that not trusting Aldrick Rosas altered the way he managed the game on Sunday, and it cost the Saints the game. Going for it from bypassing a 47-yard field. This is the NFL. I mean, if LSU gets on the opponent's half of midfield, they're kicking it with Cade York. That's a college team. This is the NFL. Anything inside of 50 should be automatic in the NFL. And you didn't even attempt it. And then you do attempt a 58-yarder? No good. Shocking. Next play, 52-yard touchdown pass. Like, those decisions cost the New Orleans Saints the football game. So, hurry back, Wil Lutz. Cody Parkey, 1 week. Let's see how it goes. Hopefully, he's competent on the road there in Washington. Worth noting when he played with Philly, played against Washington in that division, so he's kicked in that stadium before. To that end, it does make sense for him. So, I'm somewhat indifferent here. I'm not going to do backflips over signing Cody Parkey, but could he be a serviceable kicker for 1 week for you? Let's hope so. And then you get Wil Lutz back, hopefully healthy and back in top form. Some of the other players, so Wil Lutz is one of the guys eligible to return this week, but clearly it seems though he won't. There's 5 other players that could return for New Orleans this week. 2 of them are on the offensive side, and then there's 3 defenders. The 2 offensive players are both potential pass catchers. And that's obviously notable right now because of Sean Payton's seeming unwillingness to open up the offense. I would be very interested to see what they do with Traquan Smith this week. If they decide to let him come off of IR and play this week against Washington. We should know tomorrow when we get the first injury report of the week if Traquan Smith is going through workouts. And I don't want to oversell this because by now you should know my feelings on Traquan Smith. I've told you for months. When this training camp started and this was his money year and this was, especially with Mike Thomas's injury, his opportunity to step up and be the guy, and immediately he's injured and now missing the seat. I'm done with him. I'm done with Traquan Smith as far as a long-term option with this team or whatever his career may be, whatever. At this point, anything you get from him in my eye is lanyard. So maybe this is an opportunity for him this week. When Sean Payton was on that same teleconference, he was asked about Kenny Stills. And here's what Sean Payton said about Kenny Stills moving forward.
Yeah, look, he's an experienced receiver we're familiar with. He's sudden. I think he has good speed and good hips. I'm glad he's here. I think he's helped us. Certainly his role week by week, we feel like can help us.
I'm not trying to tell you that Kenny Stills is a game-breaking offensive option. But he knows this offense, and he still knows how to get separation and get open. I mean, he had a touchdown taken off the board, no fault of his own, this past weekend. And if you have in this offense Marquez Callaway and Deontay Harris, presumably as your 1-2 in whatever order, can Kenny Stills be a viable 3? Yes, he's shown you he can be a viable 3. He'll go over the middle and catch a ball on 3rd and 12. He'll run a post and catch a touchdown. He's a viable guy that can still get open and catch the football. And I like him I'm not telling you I want him to be my number 1, but could he be a number 3 or number 4? Sure. Now you slide Tre'Quan in there. If he's healthy, we'll see. The other guy is Nick Vannett. And the reason that's significant is exactly what we just talked about with the Kenny Stills touchdown. Adam Troutman is not ready. It's just clear. I mean, he was the guy in the Saints passing on Jared Cook this year, and you saw Troutman getting more and more snaps a season ago that they were expecting to take this big step, and it hasn't happened. So you look at the Kenny Stills touchdown, Adam Troutman couldn't get across the formation quickly enough, gets a holding penalty, negates a touchdown. Give me Nick Vannett in the Josh Hill role, in the Michael Ho'omanuanui role, in that big tight end that's really a blocker role that Sean Payton has always had in his offenses. So give me Nick Vannett to be that guy, and maybe that makes you more dynamic. Maybe that takes some of that responsibility away from Troutman and makes you better. But Juwan Johnson's been the better pass catcher. So maybe the odd man out here is Troutman if Johnson's the better pass catcher and Vannett's back and can be that blocking tight end for you. The other 3 players are 3 defenders. Ken Crawley's eligible to return. And it's amazing. It wasn't that long ago, but it's amazing that we were talking about Ken Crawley as potential opening day boundary corner, outside cornerback starter. Crawley and Paulson Adebo. I mean, this is when we still weren't sure if Lattimore was going to be suspended or what was going to happen there. Light years from that moment now. Remember, of course, they went and signed Desmond Trufant and they traded for Bradley Roby. And Adebo has held off both of those veteran guys. Adebo has continued starting because he's been a better player. So Lattimore, Adebo, Trufant, Roby, now you get Crawley back. It's just another body. It's more depth. The other two guys are just of far more significance, and that's Kwon Alexander and Marcus Davenport. Listen, the Saints did not get a single sack against the Giants. Not one. For the brief time we saw Marcus Davenport this year, he was the best edge rusher on this team. He was a monster in the opener. They couldn't block him. Unfortunately, what happened to Marcus Davenport is what's happened to Marcus Davenport every year that he's played in the NFL. He got injured. The old saying, the best ability is availability, well, that applies to Marcus Davenport. But you might be getting him back. He injured his pectoral muscle. Thankfully, it wasn't more serious. He's eligible to return this week. We see if he will. Or if the Saints decide, hey, let's give him 2 more weeks, this week and the bye, and then have him back for that game against Seattle. You're playing a game where you're going to face Taylor Heineke at quarterback. You would hope that you would be able to manage this with your defense without some of these guys. But if you're ready to go, go. And, of course, Kwon Alexander is the other. Pete Werner is not Kwon Alexander. But Pete Werner has been more than serviceable. Led the Saints in tackles this past week. Zach Bond got his opportunity and just clearly wasn't ready. So Pete Werner got the opportunity, and he has been really good. Not elite. He's not Kwon Alexander, but he's been a very nice piece opposite Demario Davis in this defense. So if Davenport and Kwon need another week, okay, give them 2. The benefit of the schedule playing out the way it did. But the Saints could very well be getting a lot of guys back this week. 6 are eligible to return. It's pretty clear Wil Lutz won't. We should start to get a feeling on Wednesday about the other 5 for this week up in Washington. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.